U.S. citizens remember the date September 11th, 2001. It marks a day of great tragedy for the United States, which then led to the passing of a bill that has infringed on civil rights. The USA Patriot Act, signed into law by President George W. Bush, broadens the search and surveillance power federal and intelligence agencies have. The Patriot Act allows the government access to data from all communication devices to identify and prevent terrorism. Unfortunately, the Patriot Act has caused more harm than good, and it is time you were made aware of how this impacts your privacy. According to Understanding Media and Culture, the Patriot Act permits the government to acquire roving wiretaps on communication devices, obtain someone's records without their knowledge, and investigate and monitor a person's internet history without them needing known ties to terrorist groups. This means that the government has access to your personal browsing history and records. If the government decided you were a suspect based on your internet behavior, they could act on that suspicion and investigate you, possibly questioning you. Given the current advancements made in technology, the government can use software to determine who could and could not be a target based on their data. And this is confirmed by Delaney's article. Government surveillance now encompasses communications, biometric data, individual profiling, and complex algorithms. Presently, there are over 10 companies that make up the primary internet service providers in the United States. These companies make agreements with one another to balance internet traffic. Governments can then obtain data from these companies for investigation. I propose that we introduce a policy that prohibits the selling, sharing, or use of someone's private data without their permission. This includes websites, governments, companies, and AI. I also suggest that the government institutions be required to inform individuals if their data is stored, used, sold, or shared. For instance, companies and websites would only be allowed to store data directly relevant to the institution with your consent and be restricted from selling it. Finally, I propose that governments can collect their data, but only when it is for the protection of citizens. For instance, to inform you that you have made contact with someone with COVID-19, as seen in Taiwan, which the article by Goldie and Kelly Herr in 2020 confirms. We deserve to have privacy and be aware of how our privacy is currently being violated, and these policies will ensure that. All of this information is supported by Understanding Media and Culture, an Introduction to Mass Communication, published by the University of Minnesota Libraries Publishing. It is also supported by Delaney's article, The USA Patriot Act and Privacy, A New Frontier of Mass Surveillance, in the GP Solo. And it is supported by Goldie and Kelly Herr's article in 2020, Should Governments Have Access to Our Data?, published to the public seminar. And finally, it is supported by Kalowski's article in 2021 in the New York Times Wirecutter, The State of Consumer Data Privacy Laws in the U.S., in parentheses, and Why It Matters. Thank you.